Currently, I am making a Pokemon region that is based on the Midwest, that being a collection of states in the US that are North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. Since sports are so popular here in the Midwest, and in the US as a whole, I decided to go state by state in the Midwest, making some of the sports teams into Pokemon. As a preface, I really do not know much about sports, so if you feel as if your state or favorite sports team in the Midwest could have gotten some better representation, let me know in the comments below, and we can see what we need to change. And remember to like and subscribe while you're down there. It helps make more of these videos. Alright, so let's get right into it. Let's go in the same order I listed the states in earlier, and start with North Dakota. While looking into the sports teams in North Dakota, I had come across the team called the Bismarck Larks. Since this is a baseball team, and I had already had the idea of making a black-capped chickadee into a baseball-themed Pokemon, I combined the ideas and made Ballark. This Pokemon is very competitive within its flock, and they will race around, hitting a seed back and forth with their powerful tail. Being that this Pokemon is rather small, it makes up with that by being extremely quick. The first team I had noticed while looking into South Dakota was the Coyotes. I hadn't made a Coyote Pokemon yet, and I was wanting to make one since they're everywhere, but I hadn't had any ideas yet. Then, I saw the team called the Hard Rockers, and it hit me. Why not make a hard rocking Coyote that is in fact a rock type? This is Rockin' Yoti, a rock type and the hard rocker Pokemon. These Pokemon love to party, and will stay up late into the night hooting and hollering. It can be heard for miles. This Pokemon is rather tough to train, as it can be rather rambunctious, but as long as you allow it to let loose now and again, you'll be fine. Nebraska was a tough one. Out there really isn't too many sports teams that stand out. At least, that wasn't until I came across the Lincoln Salt Dogs, which I thought was a really interesting team name. Like, what the heck is a salt dog anyway? But then I came across the Omaha Storm Chasers, and it clicked. I'll make a flying-type dog Pokemon. I wanted this Pokemon to be unique, as I had come across a metric ton of flying-type dog Fakemon/evolutions that just give wings or clouds to a dog, making it a flying type. So instead, I thought to myself, tornadoes spin in the air. Why would a dog spin? When they're chasing their tail, and that's it. And from then, it was born, a flying-type dog that chases its tail to spin, creating a tornado that allows it to fly. This is Roundahound, a flying type and the Vortex Pokemon. Once a Roundahound begins to start chasing its tail, it becomes incredibly difficult to stop it. However, once it finally does catch its tail, it will calm down. They are seen as the natural enemy towards Miltank and trailer homes alike. Okay, so Kansas was next in my sports journey, and thankfully, this one was rather easy. Coming across the teams Wichita Windsurge and the Wichita Thunder, I had immediately thought to make a flying and electric Thunder Crown Pegasus of sorts. So, here it is. This is Capristorm, a flying and electric type, and the Rumble Pokemon. These Pokemon race across the open skies of the grassy rural zone. It was thought for a long time that they created the thunderstorms that ravage the land they call home, but it turns out they just follow the thunderstorms, as that is what they get their energy source from. Alright, next on the list is Missouri, and originally I wanted to do something with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals, but I chose instead to do the St. Louis Blues. I wanted to make a Blue Jay Pokemon for a while, and I figured this would be a good time to do so, and this little guy ended up being one of my favorites. This is Bluytoot, a flying and normal type, and the Brass Section Pokemon. Bluytoots play elegant and complicated melodies to each other, and scientists are still trying to decipher their language. To this day, musicians with artist block can be found venturing through the woods, listening to Bluytoot. For Iowa, I came across the Iowa Hawkeyes, and this one just worked. With the mascot Harkeen the Hawk, I was sold. This is Harkeen, a pure flying type, and the hawk-eyed Pokemon. Harkeen can dart through the air with amazing precision, and are the apex hunters of the Midway region. This is a design I was probably the least interested in, and that's no fault to Harkeen, but let me know in the comments how you think I could improve this design. When I reached Minnesota, I had come across the obvious conclusion that I was going to use the Vikings. But I wanted something more, and after a bit of research, I came across a team known as the MCU Mavericks, which has a bull as their mascot. I thought this was perfect. I can use the horns commonly found on the stereotypical Viking helmets and use that with the horns found on bulls. Here is Helmetal, a fighting and steel type. The helmet that Helmetal are seen lugging around are actually something they are born with. It is not only used as a piece of armor, but is very heavy and is used by the Helmetal to train and become stronger. After some intense training, Helmetal will evolve. This is Mavreck, a fighting and steel type, and the Bulwark Pokemon. Now, with his body trained and his muscles gained, Mavreck blows through anyone that tries to stand against him. They use their hardened musculature to absorb even the hardest blows thrown at them. Wisconsin is next, and luckily for me, I had already had a Pokemon ready for this. Some time ago, I had created a Pokemon known as Badgling and Wadger, so the only thing I needed to do was a little revamping. This is Badgling, a dark type, and the Badger Pokemon. Badgling are often found at night in small posses hunting for prey, and during the day, they are found buried underground. With no other Pokemon in your party, and a bit of training, Badgling will evolve into Wadger. Wait a minute, did it even evolve? It sure did. Look here, the pattern on his chest changed. Just like the dolphin Pokemon Palafin found in Paldea, Wadger has the ability to change his form, but not with Zero to Hero. Wadger has Chillin' to Villain, and will enter its brute form, where it will stop at nothing to defeat its opponents. Using its signature move Snide will lower the opponent's attack before switching out. Moving right along to Illinois, I knew I had to do something with a bear, being that the two popular teams found in Illinois are the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Cubs. So here is Cubbinlost, a ghost type, and the lost Pokemon. Cubbinlost are often found sad and lonely, because after they are born, their ghostly abilities aren't strong enough for them to be able to sense their parents. So, they're often found wandering around, alone and sad, until they are strong enough to find their parents. After some training, Cubbinlost will evolve into Baronfound, a pure ghost type, and the found Pokemon. Baronfound was a handy partner Pokemon for Shaman in a time long ago before Midway was called Midway, and now they're used for their natural abilities to command lost souls. They use the orbs they generate to gather and control other ghosts, who cannot pass on to the next world. After enough souls have been gathered, an orb will actually become a Cubbinlost. With its new ability, Soul Sovereign, it makes it so any ghost types on your side will never miss.
Yeah.
Ooh. After Illinois is Indiana, and for Indiana, I knew I had to do something with the 8500. This being the case, and since we now have a car Pokemon being that of Varoom and Revavroom, why not make a regional form? This is Midwe and Varoom, a pure steel type and the big block Pokemon. This version of Varoom has been claimed to originate in Midway and to be the original form of Varoom, but there is no evidence to back that up. This variant of Varoom is much heavier than its Paldean counterpart. Walking a certain distance with Varoom will make it evolve into Revavroom, but in Midway, Varoom does not evolve like that. To evolve a Midway in Varoom, there are two items you can use to make it evolve into two different forms. These are the Peat Block and the Electrizer. Let's take a look. Giving a Midway to Varoom a Peat Block makes it evolve into Midway and Revavroom off-road form. Now, a Steel and Ground type. This form of Revavroom is much heavier, but can travel easily through just about any type of terrain. And with a good suspension to boot, it can take some heavy attacks with little to no reaction. And with its new ability All-Terrain, it takes no negative effects from anything set up on the field, that being any sort of terrain or entry hazard. Giving a Midway and Varoom an Electrizer makes it evolve into Midway and Revavroom EV form. Now, a Steel and Electric type. This form of Revavroom is much faster, but it has lost its heavy engine, but has a heavy electric storage. This form of Revavroom rips around the battlefield, but is more affected by the terrain than its off-road counterpart. Which Revavroom would you pick, off-road or EV? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there. Ohio is next, and I immediately gravitated towards the Cavaliers. At this point I had to remember the Paldean region, and how we got new dog Pokemon with Fido, Mastiff, and Greavard, and their evolutions of course. So, in the Midway region, now, already with Roundahound, I'd figured, why not make 3 new dog Pokemon myself? So, this is Majesteel, a Steel type, and the Cavalier Pokemon. This regal looking Pokemon has been bred through the ages to become a Pokemon fit to sit at a king's side. Because of this, it can be rather snotty and tends to look down on other Pokemon. It was also bred to have the shining parts of its body actually become real metal over time, giving it the Steel typing. So, just earlier I said 3 new dog Pokemon. If you've been paying close attention, you might be saying, I've only seen 2 dog Pokemon. And you'd be right, because with the final state on this list, Michigan, and the team known as the Battle Creek Battlejacks, we have the final Pokemon. This is Tearriert, a ground type and the dusty Pokemon. Tearriert loved to dig holes and get covered in dirt, to the point where after generations of Tearriert doing this, it has actually become part of their fur, creating a matted, thick, stratum-like fur aggregate. Don't be fooled by this Pokemon's bulky appearance, it's very quick. And with its new ability, Dig Up, anytime it uses a ground type move, it gets rid of any sort of entry hazard or terrain. So, that's Midway Sports State by State, Turn into Pokemon. Which one was your favorite? Which one is going on your team? And let me know which one you think I should change. Also, let me know in the comments below if you think I missed something special with the sports team you think should have been a Pokemon rather than the ones I made. Make sure you also like and subscribe for more Midway Pokemon. And keep those running shoes on, trainers.